Hey guys, Allison here. Well, after Roe v. Wade is down, we're hearing a lot of, anger and people screaming and it's unfair and women have no more control over their bodies. It's kind of funny because they're acting like pregnancy is an airborne disease, that there's no control over it. Obviously, there's a behavior connected to the problem, all right? Having sex when you're not ready to welcome a child. Now, I know with this audience I'm preaching to the choir, but follow me here, all right? I think that a lot of people, especially young people, don't realize that there are connections between our behaviors and our results. I will never forget many years ago, I had a young girl in my office. She had had an abortion at 16. She was a group of 5 girlfriends that grew up together. 3 of them got pregnant and had abortions. One of them had her baby, and the other one never got pregnant. Now, the common denominator between the 4 where they all had sex, the one who never got pregnant was still a virgin. But in talking to her one day, and it was very sad, she was so sweet, she just looked at me and she said, "Why is this happening to all of us?" Like really not making the connection, because the devil has done such a great job of acting like, sex is just something we all have to do, and it's, like there's no consequences to it as long as you're in love, right? So we're seeing that, but I'd like you to look at your own life, and I think that we can carry that analogy a little bit further. How often do we find ourselves in the same patterns, but we're not connecting it to our own behaviors? All right, so think about somebody who's trying to lose weight, but their behaviors are always maybe eating the wrong foods, eating too much, eating at the wrong times of the day. By moderating those behaviors, we get different results generally, right? Maybe you're in the habit of just speaking your mind and telling people off, and then you're always wondering why you have broken relationships, right? Sometimes also we feel totally taken advantage of by people, but we also easily say yes, or we feel guilted into things, or we feel like, we just got to do these things when we could stand up for ourselves. So I think that that's become like the big lost connection in life is behavior and results. So whatever you're struggling with, if it is, a series of broken relationships, if it is, maybe weight or health issues, if it is overwhelm and feeling taken advantage of, I'd like you to sit down and think about, okay, what do I actually do? All right, because we may say certain things, right, that we believe, I'm worth more, but watch what your behaviors are, all right, because we will not always live what we profess, but we'll always live what we believe. So if deep down I don't really believe I'm worth very much, I'm going to let people walk all over me. And that's a sign of what you believe. If you look at the patterns in your life, you got to look and say, okay, if I let everybody take advantage of me or talk down to me, I can't be valuing myself very much. So now that's an attitude, but it often leads to behaviors of doing things for people that we don't really want to do, or allowing them to do things. Those are behaviors that we need to connect to those results. Now it sounds a little overly simplistic, but I think we have to sometimes stop and really think about it, because sometimes simple behavioral changes can make a huge difference. Now this is where I think if it's a long-term pattern that you find yourself stuck in, you may need to talk to a therapist to see where that is rooted in your life. Where is that coming from? Is it from a wound? Is it a very negative belief that has rooted in? Sometimes there's trauma there. Sometimes patterns that we just repeat because that's what we saw in our own families. I think it's very valuable to take that time to look back in therapy to kind of get a handle on it so we can change it for the future. Or maybe you do kind of have a handle on it, but you don't really know how to set those steps up to get better results. That's where working with a coach can be really helpful. A health coach that can really help you to kind of look at, okay, what are my patterns? What works for me? Not every diet is perfect for everybody, right? Maybe you need a business coach. Maybe you're struggling in your business, your career. All right, maybe you just need like a productivity coach. All right, you're not really kind of doing the things in the best way and you're constantly feeling tired and overwhelmed. This is where coaching can be so, so powerful. And I think its time really has come. So again, the distinction, if you're struggling from the past, We need to identify those patterns and maybe, bring it to God for healing, all right, if there are wounds and there's trauma. But if we have a good handle on it and we're fairly functional, but we feel like we're not really moving ahead the way we want, this is where coaching is really powerful. I highly recommend it. Both links are below this video, catholictherapist.com, catholiclifecoaches.com. Wonderful people listed there. I think you'll love it. God bless you.